Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin.
The horizon is not a wall. It is a soft line where our sight grows tired. It is like the edge of a lake at night when the far shore is so quiet that your eyes weave it into the dark. The universe has a horizon too. It is not made of wood or stone. It is made of time and light. It is the place where light has not had enough time to reach us yet. We call it the observable edge. Beyond it, things may wait like islands in a fog. We do not see them, but the sea that carries us is the same. To feel this, close your eyes for a moment and picture a small spark beginning long ago. That spark is not a candle in a room. It is space itself stretching and cooling, like bread dough rising on a gentle morning table. As the dough rises, raisins move apart. They are not running. The dough is just growing between them. Galaxies are like the raisins. The space between them expands. This is why far galaxies drift away from us, and why their light wears a red coat as it travels, stretched into longer waves by the growing space. This red shift tells us a quiet truth. The universe is getting bigger, and it has been doing so for almost 14 billion years. When we look into the dark with radios and mirrors and maps, we see a faint glow that fills the sky in every direction. It is the afterwarmth from the young universe when it was still a thick soup of light and matter. We call it the cosmic microwave background. It is like the cooling sigh after a hot day still whispering in the air. This glow is very smooth, but not perfectly smooth. It has tiny ripples, tiny bumps of warmth and cool. Those small wrinkles are important. They grew into galaxies, stars, and us. A little unevenness gave the universe places to gather, like sandbars where shells can rest. Think about how long light travels. A beam leaving a galaxy a billion years ago is still on its way to us, carrying news about a time when Earth's rocks were different and the seas were young. The farther we look, the younger the universe looks because we are seeing light that began its trip long ago. So the edge we talk about is not a fence. It is the limit of what has had time to tell us its story. Beyond that boundary, news has not arrived yet. The post is slow when distances are so vast that time itself must stretch to hold them. Some people imagine the edge of the universe like the rim of a bowl. They ask, what is beyond the rim? But space is not a bowl sitting on a table. It is more like the surface of a balloon. If you draw tiny dots on a balloon and gently blow air into it, each dot moves away from the others. There is no special center on the surface. Every place feels like the center because everything else moves away from it. Our universe seems to behave in a similar way. From where we sit, galaxies recede. From where they sit, we recede. Each point can believe it is the middle of things, and each is right in its own small way. But what about the other side? If there is a horizon, does it hide another shore? The gentle answer is this: the horizon hides more universe. Not a separate place, not a different kind of reality, but more of the same deep fabric stretching farther than our sight. We have hints from the maps of the cosmic microwave background. The patterns we see can be explained if the universe is wide and flat on large scales. Flat in this sense means that parallel lines stay parallel, and triangles add up to a familiar sum. A wide, flat space can extend without end, like an endless calm sea. It does not need a border. It can continue past the horizon, steady and quiet, too far for light to cross in the time since the beginning. There is also a graceful thought called inflation. It says that in the first tiny moment, the universe grew very fast, faster than any common speed, because space itself was expanding like a sudden breath. This quick growth smoothed things out and explains why the microwave glow looks so uniform across the sky. If inflation happened, then the part we see is only a small patch of a far larger quilt. Our horizon is a window cut in that quilt. The rest of the cloth is still there, cool and silent beyond our view. Nothing stops it from existing. Our view is simply limited by time. When we point our largest telescopes at the dark, we gather ancient light. Some of it has been stretched so much that it hums rather than shines, a soft radio murmur from the edge of our reach. We listen and make maps. We count galaxies and trace their clusters like fireflies around ponds of gravity. We measure how fast they move away, and we compare colors and brightness to learn their distances. In the quiet of a mountain night, those large mirrors hold the sky like basins of silver water, and across that water, the universe leans close to tell us its age. Still, there are mysteries we admit with kind voices. The expansion is not slowing down the way we expected. It is speeding up, as if some gentle pressure is hidden in the fabric of space. A pressure that does not shine or pull the way matter does. We call it dark energy. The name is a promise that we do not yet know. It is like calling a distant island unknown land until we can touch its sand. This dark energy shapes the future. If it continues to push, galaxies will drift farther and the horizon will draw a tighter circle around what we can see. Not because the universe is shrinking, but because the speed of its spread keeps stealing distant light before it can arrive. On the other side of our horizon, if we could go there, we might find galaxies like ours and galaxies very unlike ours, woven in the same cosmic web of filaments and voids that we see nearby. The web is formed by gravity pulling matter into long strings and walls, leaving large empty spaces between. In those emptier rooms, you could drift for a very long time without meeting a star. In the thicker strings, you would find many suns and the breath of nebulae, where new stars are born out of clouds, slow and soft. This pattern is not a plan. It is the simple result of tiny differences growing over time under gravity's steady hand. Some wonder if space might loop back on itself like the surface of a sphere. If you could travel in a straight line for long enough, could you return to where you began? This idea is called cosmic topology, and it holds a sweet promise. If the universe is finite but unbounded, it would have no edges, like Earth's surface has no edge. You can walk and never fall off. We search the microwave background for matching circles, patterns that repeat in a way that would hint at a looping shape. So far, the sky keeps its secrets. The patterns look as if space is very large and simple, at least across the part we see. But the possibility remains like a gentle song we hum while working, not sure where we first heard the tune. If there were a balcony where we could stand and look past the horizon, what would greet us? Perhaps nothing strange at all, just more deep space, more distant light on a journey slowed by the growth of space. The barrier is not a wall to cross, but a clock to respect. If we wait long enough, some light that is now hidden may arrive. But time itself is changing with the expansion, and some light may never cross, no matter how patient we are. This is a soft sadness and a soft comfort at once. The universe allows mystery the way night allows dreams. When we speak in simple words about such large things, we do not try to make them smaller than they are. We make our language wider. We say, the horizon we see is the distance light could travel since the hot beginning through a space that is always stretching. We say, beyond that distance, more universe may sit, calm and complete, obeying the same quiet rules carried by the same laws. We say, the questions we ask are part of the universe too, small but real, like ripples in a lake when a pebble is tossed by a child who wonders how deep the water goes. The night sky is not empty, it is full of memories. Every star is a memory of clouds folding into fire, and every galaxy is a memory of the young universe cooling and clumping. The microwave background is a memory of light when it first could travel free, no longer trapped by a fog of charged particles. Each memory moves toward us at the best pace it can, crossing the room of space while the room itself quietly stretches. On clear nights, our own memories lean toward these distant ones. We think of ancient sailors who trusted horizons, not because they saw the far shore, but because they learned how distances work on a round world. We are sailors in a larger sea. Our charts are equations. Our compass is light. There is another gentle idea that lives in some minds. It is the idea that there might be other universes beyond ours, each with its own settings, like the strength of gravity or the calm of dark energy. This is sometimes called the multiverse. It arises from certain ways of thinking about inflation and quantum fields. If space can grow quickly in one place, perhaps it can keep growing elsewhere, like a field where new flowers keep opening beyond the hill. We cannot sail there. We cannot test it with our current tools. So we hold this idea lightly, like a feather we turn in our fingers. We admit it is possible, and we admit we do not know. Science is careful in this way. It uses doubt as a lantern to see what is really there. Now imagine standing on a quiet hill under a dark sky. You look up and the Milky Way is a pale river. It looks still, but it moves. It moves with everything else, carried by the growth of space, drifting among the great clusters and threads like a slow leaf in a vast current. The horizon is far beyond that river. It is beyond the farthest galaxy you can see in your mind, yet it is close in another sense. It is as near as the limit of your patience and the reach of time. You are part of it because you are made of the same matter that rose from the Sa. Merely heat, you are a small place where the universe can know itself for a moment and ask a gentle question: what lies farther out? We do not need to fear the part we cannot see. The unseen is not always a threat. In the universe, the unseen is often a promise. It says there is more to learn. It says your instruments can grow, your ideas can soften and widen, your maps can add new coasts and new depths. When we treat the horizon with calm respect, we find that it steadies us. It tells us to do our work now, to tend our small garden of stars and stones and living things, while the far light makes its long trip. You can almost hear the ancient glow if you listen with the right kind of ear. It hums in wavelengths longer than our eyes can hold. It is a steady song, like wind across long grass. That song tells us the universe was once very hot and close, and now is cool and wide. It tells us that gravity is patient and that structure can rise from small seeds. It tells us that the horizon is not a hard end, but a soft beginning for the next questions to come. In this way, the other side of the universe is not only a place. It is also a season of time we have not reached yet, a page of a story we have not turned. Let us drift deeper into this thought. The word beyond can make the heart feel big and the breath slow. We know that every step in science is a small wave on a larger sea. We test what we can, we hold gently what we cannot, and we keep listening. If we do this with care, the horizon will remain a friend. It will keep its shape as a promise rather than a scold. It will say, "Come back tomorrow with a better question, and I will meet you where light can lead." And we will come back, and the night will still be here, and the stars will still be telling their cool, bright stories from across the widening dark. If you let your thoughts rest for a moment, you might notice how quiet your own inner sky can be. Thoughts drift like small galaxies. Some grow dim and pass the edge of attention. Some swell and shine for a while before fading. There is a horizon inside us too, the limit of what we can hold right now. Beyond it, more ideas wait in a gentle dark. With time they can arrive. With patience they can be seen. In this way, the universe outside and the universe inside are kin. Both are full of things we can reach, and full of things that will take longer to appear. So what is on the other side of the universe? More universe, most likely. More quiet, more distance, more patterns shaped by the same simple rules. Perhaps spaces where galaxies never formed. Perhaps spaces with rich clusters we will not meet. Perhaps the same calm laws holding everything in a steady rhythm. Our horizon is the present limit of our knowing, not the final line of what is real. That is a tender thing to understand. It is not a door we cannot open. It is a window that will grow as time goes on, as we build better ways to gather light, and as the universe, in its patience, allows more news to reach our waiting shore. And when you think of that shore, let it feel like a beach at dusk. The tide comes and goes, the air cools, and the far line of water holds its place. You stand there small and sure, and you listen for waves you cannot yet hear. There is peace in that listening. The science we do is part of that peace. It is the slow work of learning where we are and what lies farther out on the soft other side of our current sight. If you sit quietly and picture the sky as a living book, you will notice how each star is a letter and each galaxy a long flowing word. Together they form sentences that stretch across the black page of space. The story we read from them is not written all at once. It comes letter by letter, photon by photon, carried across the long silence of billions of years. When you look deeper into this book, you see not only what is close, but also the faded ink of ancient times. Light becomes memory, and memory becomes a guide. To drift deeper into this thought is to accept that the universe holds a library wider than imagination, and we are only on the first shelves. Now imagine those shelves extending into the horizon we cannot yet pass. Beyond our view, the universe continues to write. The ink may look the same, stars forming, galaxies clustering, black holes singing their silent pull, but the patterns may be new, woven differently in places we cannot see. The web of matter, fine as lace, stretches outward. Gravity pulls its threads together, shaping knots where galaxies bloom, leaving wide, dark gaps where nothing shines. We call these gaps voids. Some of them are hundreds of millions of light years wide, like great caverns between walls of stars. To drift across them would be like sailing through an ocean with no islands, only the quiet rise and fall of unseen waves. The other side of the universe may be filled with these structures, yet what we see near us tells us something of what must lie far away. Laws of nature seem steady. Water boils at the same heat here as it would in a distant galaxy if water exists there. Atoms dance in the same rhythm with the same charge and spin. This uniformity is a comfort, like knowing that music will follow the same scale no matter where the notes are played. Because of this, we believe that beyond the horizon, galaxies shine and stars collapse in familiar ways, even if their light has not yet crossed into our eyes. But the deeper wonder is not just what is familiar. It is what may change when time itself stretches further. The universe is not frozen. It is not a painting pinned to a wall. It is a river flowing, its waters move and the banks change. Already we know the expansion is speeding up. Distant galaxies slip away faster, pulled not by a hand we can see, but by something soft and hidden dark energy. Its name is a placeholder, like a whisper before a song. We know it is there, but not what it is. On the far side of the universe, dark energy may shape the flow even more strongly. It may push galaxies apart until even their light cannot travel between them. If so, the universe on the other side of our horizon may already be beyond reach forever, locked in a separation no bridge can span. And yet separation does not mean absence. The stars still shine whether or not we see them. Their light moves in patient lines, though space may stretch those lines thinner and thinner. Perhaps some photons will never reach us, their path widened until it breaks. But the attempt itself is part of the beauty. Each beam that does arrive is a messenger, a survivor of a long voyage, carrying the story of its birthplace across a sea it could not know. Each photon is a letter slipped under the door of time, and when we catch it, we are reading a truth that might otherwise have been forgotten. There is something poetic in the way horizons shift with time. Long ago, the horizon was smaller. Fewer galaxies could send their light in the short span since the universe began. As billions of years passed, the horizon widened. More light had time to arrive. We can see farther now than we could a billion years ago. And yet, because the expansion is quickening, there will come a time when the horizon stops growing. It will shrink instead, and fewer galaxies will remain in view. The universe will still be wide, but the page we can read will grow shorter. We are living in a rare moment, when the horizon is large and open, when the night is filled with more stars than any future sky will hold. If you step deeper into imagination, you can picture yourself drifting across the cosmic web. You travel along a filament, a thread of galaxies pulled together by gravity. Stars burn in clusters, nebulae bloom like gardens of gas, black holes hide in centers where time itself slows. You follow this thread until it thins and you reach a void, a darkness so wide that no star greets you. In that silence, you feel the true scale of things. And then far away, another filament rises, and you see again the gathering of suns. This pattern repeats endlessly, like lace on lace or waves on waves. Beyond our horizon, this lace continues, never-ending, quiet in its symmetry. But what if the universe holds secrets in that unseen part? What if the constants we trust, like the pull of gravity or the weight of particles, are not the same beyond our sight? Some scientists wonder if different regions might carry different flavors of physics, like patches of a quilt sewn from different cloths. If so, our corner is one pattern, steady and kind to life, while another corner may be harsher, less welcoming. We cannot yet know. But to wonder is to give space for possibility, and to possibility we owe our deepest questions. The idea of multiverses grows from this soil. If our universe is only one bubble in a larger foam, then beyond our horizon may lie not more of the same, but something wholly different. Imagine a sea of bubbles, each bubble a universe with its own laws. Some bubbles are small, some large, some short-lived, some endless. We live inside one bubble and its horizon is our limit. Beyond that curve, another bubble may glow with other stars or perhaps with no stars at all. It is speculation, yes, but speculation can be a soft light, guiding us to design new questions, to seek signs, to imagine more than what we can hold today. Back within our own horizon, we learn by studying what we can see. We trace the microwave background, that ancient whisper, for patterns. We measure how galaxies cluster, how light bends when it passes near mass, how expansion changes with time. These are our tools. They are like shells collected on the beach, each telling a piece of the sea's story. With patience, the shells form a pattern and the sea itself comes closer to view. We may never sail past the horizon, but we can know what direction the tide flows and how deep the water might be. Beyond sight, beyond even science, Air is the quiet human feeling of scale. When we think of the other side of the universe, we also think of ourselves. We feel small but not lost, small but part of the wide. Like a single cell in a living body, we matter not because we are the whole, but because we are a part. To know that the horizon hides more universe is to feel less lonely. We are not at the edge of all things. We are in the middle of something that continues, calm and unbroken. That is a comfort as deep as sleep. Picture again the night sky. A soft breeze moves the leaves around you. You tilt your head and look up. The stars are far, but their light is near. You feel the space between you and them, stretched, immense, but bridged by light that refuses to stay hidden. That bridge is the truest thing we know, a line across time. On the other side of the horizon, more lines are being drawn. We may not see them yet, but they are already written. The universe is always ahead of us, like a gentle story unfolding one page at a time. And so we return to the question, asked in calm voices, what lies beyond the horizon? The answer is not final, it is still a poem in progress. We know enough to say, more space, more time, more galaxies woven into the same fabric. We suspect enough to whisper, perhaps other laws, perhaps other universes. And we accept enough to close our eyes and rest, that the horizon is not an end but a pause, an invitation to dream while we wait for light to arrive. In this way, the unseen becomes a friend, not a fear. It becomes a lullaby sung by the stars across the widening dark. The night sky holds us like a cradle. When we ask about the other side of the universe, we are not only searching outward, we are searching inward too, trying to find our place in something so vast that words feel smaller than silence. The horizon is a boundary of light, a line drawn by time itself. It tells us how far we can see, not how far space goes. To stand beneath the stars is to stand at that line, to feel the edge of what is known pressing gently against the unknown, like a shoreline touched by waves that came from far away. In the gentle stillness of reflection, we can imagine time as a thread weaving the fabric of the universe. Each moment is a stitch, and the stitches stretch outward in every direction. Some have reached us, others are still traveling. Still others may never arrive, their paths pulled too thin by the swelling of space. The universe is both generous and reserved. It gives us ancient light, soft and real, but it keeps part of itself behind the veil of the horizon. Not to tease us, not to deny us, but to remind us that mystery is part of the pattern. Without mystery, the story would end too soon. Scientists, with their telescopes and equations, reach toward this horizon in their own quiet way. They do not hope to tear it open, but to understand it more deeply. They measure ripples in the cosmic microwave background, map the slow dance of galaxies, weigh the pull of dark matter, and trace the push of dark energy. These efforts are like lanterns placed along a winding path. Each light shows us a little more, but the road still stretches into the dark. On the other side of that dark, the universe continues, whether we see it or not. That is the calm truth. Reality does not depend on our sight, it simply is. Think of a tree at night standing tall in a field. You can only see the part lit by the moon. The rest, hidden in shadow, is still there, still alive, still growing. The other side of the universe is like that, hidden but present, unseen but real. Its roots stretch deeper than we can trace, its branches spread wider than we can climb. We need only trust that the tree holds itself together, even when we cannot hold it with our eyes. To rest in that trust is to share a kind of peace with the cosmos itself. As we reflect on what may lie beyond, we must also reflect on what lies within. The atoms that make up our bones and blood were forged in stars that lived and died long before Earth was born. Those stars were part of galaxies that drifted outward as space expanded, and those galaxies trace their history back to the soft fluctuations of matter in the young universe. We are stitched into this story, part of the same thread that runs past the horizon. To wonder about the other side of the universe is to wonder about our own origins, our own future, and the unbroken fabric that connects them. Perhaps one day, beings far ahead of us will find ways to see more deeply, to sense beyond the limits that hold us now. Perhaps they will invent instruments that read faint whispers of energy, or bend space itself to peer farther than light can travel. Or perhaps the horizon will always remain like a soft curtain, reminding us that some mysteries are not meant to be solved but savored. Even then, the act of wondering will remain precious. The questions we ask are as important as the answers we find. They give shape to our sea. Curiosity, and our curiosity gives shape to our humanity. In the soft music of the cosmos, there is a note that speaks of impermanence. The horizon we see today will not be the same tomorrow. As galaxies drift away, some will cross beyond our sight forever. They will not stop existing, but they will stop sending us their story. The night sky of the far future will grow quieter, emptier, with only the closest galaxies remaining. Our place in cosmic time is rare and fleeting. We live in a moment when the sky is filled with abundance, when we can see the richness of the universe in a way no distant generation will. This is both a gift and a gentle reminder to cherish the view while it is ours. Yet the shrinking horizon is not a loss. It is a rhythm, part of the song of expansion. Even as some stories slip beyond our reach, new ones begin nearby. Stars are born in clouds of dust, planets form around them, life may rise on worlds we do not know. The unseen universe is not only far away, it is also here in the hidden depths of oceans, in the soil beneath our feet, in the delicate balance of ecosystems that we have not yet fully explored. The spirit of wondering about the farthest edge is the same spirit that asks about the smallest cell, the faintest signal in a nerve, the quietest trace of life in the air. And so, when we dream of the other side of the universe, we are also dreaming of wholeness. We are reaching for a feeling that everything is connected, that nothing is truly separate, that what we cannot see still holds us in its embrace. The cosmos does not draw sharp lines. It allows things to blend, to drift, to merge and part again. The edge of the observable universe is not a wall but a gradient, fading softly from the known to the unknown. To accept this is to find rest in the very structure of reality. If you close your eyes now, you can almost feel it. The slow expansion, the stretching of distances, the patient journey of light across billions of years. You can feel the horizon as a quiet presence, not pressing against you but flowing outward, carrying you with it. You are not separate from this flow. You are part of it as much as the stars, as much as the galaxies beyond sight. The horizon does not divide you from the universe. It includes you in its vast embrace. To be aware of it is to belong to something infinite. The other side of the universe, then, is not only a place beyond light. It is a reflection of our own longing. It is the shape of our questions stretched out across the dark. We may never cross it, but in asking, we create a bridge of thought that carries us closer. And that bridge is real, even if it is made of wonder. It is strong enough to hold our dreams, gentle enough to let us rest. In the quiet of the night, when the stars are steady and the air is still, you can imagine the horizon as a gentle hand, holding both the known and the unknown together. You do not need to see the other side to trust that it exists. You do not need to solve every mystery to feel at home in the universe. The horizon is enough. It is a promise that there is always more, always something waiting beyond our reach, always a reason to keep listening, keep looking, keep dreaming. So let us end here, not with a final answer, but with a soft pause. The other side of the universe is wide, hidden, and quiet. It is a place where light has not yet arrived, where galaxies drift in silence, where the same laws may play out in new patterns. It is a reminder that mystery itself is part of the beauty of existence. To live with that mystery is to live fully, awake to wonder, open to awe. And as we rest beneath the stars, we can breathe deeply and feel the calm truth. The universe is endless in its giving, and the horizon is only a gentle veil between us and the more that waits beyond. Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of space. When you lift your head to the stars and imagine the long, thin air beyond Earth's sky, you are listening to silence made wide. In space, there is no wind to carry a whisper, no air to move a leaf, no surface to echo a footstep. It is a quiet so complete that it feels endless. Yet in this silence, the universe is alive with motion. Stars burn, galaxies turn, particles collide, and light travels without pause. The silence is not empty. It is full of events that unfold in secret, without a voice to carry them. The silence itself becomes the story. If you could float far from Earth and drift in the black, you would feel this silence press around you. No sound would reach your ears, but your eyes would fill with light. Stars would shimmer with colors too fine for air to dim, and galaxies would look like soft swirls of milk on glass. In that stillness, silence becomes almost tangible, like water you can swim through. And yet the silence hides a hum. Instruments we build, radio dishes and detectors, hear a low, steady murmur. It is the faint glow of the cosmic microwave bee. Background, the memory of the young universe still echoing everywhere. What seems silent is actually full of song, only in frequencies we cannot hear unaided. Long ago, humans imagined space as a void, a perfect nothingness. But science shows us it is not so simple. Even in the silence, particles flicker in and out like fireflies too quick for the eye to catch. This is the quantum foam, the restless ground of reality. Vacuum is never truly empty. It is alive with fluctuations, with energies that borrow and repay themselves in tiny moments. Silence, at its deepest, is never blank. It is textured, delicate, alive with unseen rhythms. To drift into this truth is to feel that space is not absence, but a canvas waiting for light and matter to paint their patterns. Now think of how sound itself is born. On Earth, air molecules collide, carrying vibrations from one place to another. In water, sound is stronger, traveling farther and faster because molecules are close and quick to pass the message along. But in space, there is no thick medium to share the vibration. Silence reigns because sound has no path, yet the universe does not lack waves. Light is a wave, though it does not need air to travel. Gravity itself ripples as a wave, stretching and relaxing the fabric of space when massive bodies like black holes collide. These are silent waves, but they are waves all the same. The silence is alive with their motion. Imagine being near a great cosmic event, a star collapsing into a black hole, or two neutron stars spiraling together until they merge. To your ears, it would be quiet, unbearably quiet, yet detectors on Earth have recorded the tremor of such events as gentle ripples in space-time. We turn those ripples into sound, and they become soft chirps, faint songs from the edge of existence. The silence of space gives birth to the most delicate music, waiting for us to learn how to listen. It is not silence after all, but a different kind of hearing. The silence also protects. On Earth, noise crowds every corner, voices, machines, waves of industry. In space, silence is the rule. It allows light to travel without being drowned. It allows stars to be seen clearly without distortion. Silence gives clarity. If the cosmos were filled with air, light from distant galaxies would scatter and blur. Instead, the silence is wide and clean, letting the oldest light cross billions of years to reach us pure. What seems empty is a gift. Without silence, we would never see so far, never map the universe's past, never read the story written in starlight. But silence also carries weight. It can feel lonely. A spacecraft drifting beyond planets moves into a quiet so deep that even the sun seems distant, its warmth a memory fading. Signals we send from Earth take hours, even days, to reach such explorers. Between the words we send and the answers that return, silence stretches wide. Astronauts describe this silence not as emptiness, but as awe. Floating in orbit, hearing only their breath and heartbeat inside the suit, they feel both fragile and vast. The silence becomes a mirror, showing them how small they are and how much they belong to the whole. If we listen closely to silence, we learn that it is not an enemy but a companion. It softens the edges of thought, lets reflection bloom. In the silence of the universe, stars are born. Clouds of gas collapse without sound, cradling new suns that will one day shine on worlds we cannot yet imagine. Black holes grow quietly, swallowing matter in absolute hush. Galaxies spin without creak or groan, their spiral arms turning like silent dancers. Silence does not mean nothing is happening. It means everything is happening without interruption. Let us drift deeper into the thought of cosmic silence. The space between galaxies is wide, cold, and still. If you could sail there, you would see no nearby stars, only faint light like dust scattered on dark velvet. The silence would feel endless. But even here, particles hum in secret. Cosmic rays streak silently across the void, carrying the energy of distant explosions. Dark matter, unseen but heavy, bends space with its quiet presence. Dark energy stretches the fabric with its invisible hand. All of it unfolds without a sound. Silence is the stage on which the universe performs. And yet silence is not eternal. It is woven with time. In the far future, when stars fade and galaxies drift apart, the universe will grow colder and quieter still. Silence will deepen until only faint whispers of decay remain. This thought can feel heavy, but it is also serene. The silence of the future is not a threat. It is the natural rest of a long song. Just as night follows day, silence follows sound. The universe, in its own vast rhythm, has both. To see this rhythm is to accept that silence has a place, as important as light, as important as motion. For now, we live in a rare moment when silence and song are balanced. The universe is filled with stars. Still burning, galaxies still colliding, black holes still merging. Their silent music plays in every corner, and we, with our small tools and fragile senses, are just beginning to hear it. Radio telescopes catch whispers too faint for ears. Gravitational wave detectors feel the tremor of silent collisions. In these ways, the silence opens its door, and we step inside. The silence of space teaches us patience. To understand it, we must wait for light to travel, for signals to return, for patterns to appear in faint data. Silence asks us to slow down, to listen not with ears but with imagination. It asks us to respect time on scales larger than life, to see ourselves as threads in a wider fabric. In this way, silence is a teacher, soft and steady. It does not hurry, it does not shout. It simply is, and by being, it shows us what it means to belong to something vast. So when we ask what happens when space becomes silent, the answer is not emptiness. The answer is fullness. Silence is not the end of sound, but the ground on which all sound is built. It is not a void, but a presence. It holds the cosmos the way night holds the stars, the way stillness holds a pond. Silence is the canvas, and on it the universe paints galaxies, stars, and life. Without silence, there would be no room for any of it. And so we can rest in the truth that silence is not only absence, but also gift. It is the soft background against which existence becomes visible, the quiet heartbeat of the cosmos itself. To drift into the silence of space is to drift into the slow rhythm of eternity. In silence, there is no rush. Stars burn in patience, their light taking millions of years to reach a neighbor, their warmth steady across ages. In silence, galaxies move like dancers gliding across a floor so wide that a single turn takes billions of years. Time itself feels different where silence reigns. It stretches, soft and deep, without the ticks and pulses of daily life. You can almost feel your heartbeat slow as you imagine this scale, as if the universe itself were asking you to rest with it, to share its calm. In the silence between stars, clouds of gas lie waiting. They are thin, delicate, almost invisible, but they are the nurseries of creation. In them, gravity gathers atoms together, pulling them closer and closer until they ignite in light. A star is born, not with a roar but with a quiet blooming, a flame unfolding in stillness. There is no sound when this happens, only brightness, only energy released into the wide silence. It is a reminder that birth does not always need a cry. Sometimes it can be as soft as light, as calm as a dawn that simply appears without a word. Silence also shapes the way we see. On Earth, sound can fill the gaps, echoing across mountains, bouncing in valleys, weaving through forests. But in space, there is no echo. Light travels clean, unblurred. Silence lets us see far, lets us measure the faintest glow. The quiet between galaxies is the very reason we can map the cosmos. Without it, the universe would be noisy with interference, and the story of its origins would be hidden. Silence is not only a background. It is an active gift, making knowledge possible. Imagine standing at the edge of a great cosmic void, one of those vast empty regions where galaxies are rare. The silence there is deeper than anywhere else, a silence so complete it feels like a presence. Yet even here, the laws of physics hum quietly. Particles drift, invisible forces pull, and dark matter bends the path of light. Silence is not nothing. It is everything without voice. The stillness of a void is a reminder that even in absence, there is presence, even in quiet, there is story. We need only learn how to listen differently. Instruments help us do this. Telescopes catch radio waves, turning them into images that reveal galaxies colliding silently in the dark. Infrared sensors show us stars still wrapped in their birth clouds, glowing faintly in silence. Detectors deep in Earth's crust wait for neutrinos, ghostly particles that pass silently through everything. And gravitational wave observatories stretch their arms across kilometers of land, listening for ripples in spacetime caused by black holes merging far away. Each of these tools teaches us the same lesson. Silence is not absence, but a language. We are learning slowly how to read it. When we look at silence this way, we find it is not empty but overflowing. It is overflowing with things that cannot shout but still speak. Every faint photon that reaches us is a word whispered across time. Every ripple in spacetime is a gesture written in silence. Every unseen particle is a presence that does not announce itself but still exists. The universe speaks without sound, and our task is to grow quiet enough to hear it. To do this, we must slow down, widen our senses, and let silence guide us. There is also silence in endings. When a star like our sun grows old, it will swell into a red giant, then shed its outer layers softly into space. What remains will be a white dwarf, cooling quietly over billions of years. No explosion, no roar, just a fading into silence. Larger stars may die with violence, collapsing and bursting as supernovae. Yet even these bright deaths are silent in space. Their shockwaves roll outward unseen, carrying elements that will one day form planets and life. To watch such an event from afar is to see brilliance without sound, to feel awe without noise. The universe reminds us again, silence is not the opposite of life, it is part of its cycle. In our own solar system, silence defines the worlds beyond Earth. The moon, gray and cratered, is silent in its turning. Mars, with its thin air, carries only the faintest whispers of dust storms. The gas giants swirl in mighty storms that rage without a sound we could hear. Even Saturn's rings, vast and shimmering, move in perfect silence. Each world tells a story, but tells it quietly, like a secret written in sand. To stand on any of them would be to stand in deep stillness, where your own breath and heartbeat would be the loudest things you know. But silence is not only outside us, it is also inside. When we think of space, we think of astronauts drifting in silence, their ears filled only with the hum of machines and the rhythm of breath. Yet silence goes deeper than that. Inside our own minds, silence is the space between thoughts. It is the pause between heartbeats, the calm between breaths. In this way, the silence of the cosmos mirrors the silence within us. Both are vast, both are mysterious, both are necessary. To live in harmony with the universe is to learn how to rest in silence, both outer and inner. Beyond the stars we see, silence holds galaxies forever out of reach. The expansion of space is carrying them away faster than light can bring their news. They are still there, still glowing, but silence swallows their voices before they can arrive. In time, more and more galaxies will vanish beyond this silent horizon. The night sky will grow thinner, lonelier to our eyes, but the silence they leave is not empty. It is full of memory, full of the knowledge that they once spoke to us, full of the trust that they still exist even if we no longer hear them. The silence becomes a promise. What was once seen is still real, even in absence. To drift deeper still is to imagine the far future, when silence becomes the main character. Stars will fade, black holes will evaporate, and the universe will cool into darkness. It sounds like an ending, but it may also be a kind of rest. Silence will be the final lullaby, the calm after the long song of creation. And yet, even here, theories suggest there may be whispers, particles flickering, energies trembling, perhaps even new universes budding from the silence. The end may not be an end, but a transformation. Silence may be the bridge to something new. When we return to the present, to our small moment beneath the stars, we find that silence is already around us. Every night sky is a lesson in stillness. Every glimpse of the Milky Way is a reminder that the loudest stories are told in quiet ways. When space becomes silent, it does not stop speaking. It begins speaking differently in languages of light, motion, and time. To hear them, we need not ears but patience. We need not noise but openness. Silence is not the absence of meaning. It is the presence of depth. And so the silence of space invites us to listen with new senses. It asks us to see light as music, gravity as rhythm, time as melody. It asks us to feel awe not through volume but through vastness. It tells us that the universe does not need to shout to be beautiful. Its beauty is quiet, and in that quiet we find peace. To accept silence is to accept that the cosmos is larger than our measures, deeper than our voices, and calmer than our fears. It is to rest in the truth that silence itself is sacred, and that in it we too can be still. When silence spreads across the universe, it is not only a backdrop. It is a presence, steady and enduring. The silence of space is a kind of companion, one that waits without judgment and holds without end. As we drift into the thought of what happens when space grows silent, we begin to see that silence is not something to fear. It is a rhythm, a balance, an inevitable thread woven into the story of the cosmos. Just as day yields to night and sound fades into stillness, so too does the universe balance between motion and rest, light and dark, sound and silence. The story of silence is already written into the life of stars. They are born in clouds that collapse quietly, shine for millions or billions of years, and then fade. Some go gently, shrinking into white dwarfs that cool without a sound. Some go violently, exploding as supernovae, yet even then the roar is silent in the emptiness of space. Their brilliance is seen, not heard. Their remains scatter into new cloud. And silence gathers them once again. Creation, destruction, rebirth, all of it happens in quiet. The universe does not shout. It simply continues calmly with patience wider than thought. As galaxies drift apart, the silence deepens. The expansion of space stretches every distance, slows every arrival of light. What once was close grows distant. The songs of distant galaxies are still sung, but the stage grows larger and the voice is softer. Over billions of years, galaxies will slip beyond our horizon. Their light will never reach us again, carried away faster than it can travel. Silence becomes the horizon itself, a soft curtain drawn between what we can see and what we cannot. On the far side of that curtain, the universe goes on, but it does so unseen. The silence is both boundary and invitation, asking us to wonder about what lies beyond. The silence also speaks in the language of gravity. When black holes form, they are the most extreme objects we know. They bend space, trap light, and slow time. Yet they do all of this without sound. A black hole's presence is silent, though its influence is vast. When two black holes merge, they ripple spacetime itself, sending out waves that travel across the cosmos. We detect them not with ears, but with instruments, turning their tremors into soft chirps. In this way, silence holds within it the most powerful events in the universe. What we think of as quiet is filled with hidden songs, waiting for the right listener. To think of the far future is to think of silence growing stronger. Stars will fade, galaxies will dim, black holes will evaporate in a slow whisper of radiation. The universe will cool, approaching a state where no new light is born. This is the long silence, the stillness at the end of a great symphony. But even then, silence is not emptiness. It is rest. It is the gentle close of a story that has played for eons. Perhaps from that silence, something new will rise. Perhaps silence is not an end at all, but a seed, waiting to bloom again in another form of existence. In this way, silence becomes not finality but possibility. For us living now, silence is already a guide. It shows us how to listen. The cosmic microwave background is silent to our ears, yet it tells us about the birth of the universe. The faint glow of distant galaxies arrives across silent space, carrying the memory of times when Earth did not yet exist. Silence allows these stories to travel unharmed. Without it, the universe would be a blur, a noise of scattered signals. Instead, it is clear, like a still lake that reflects the sky. Silence does not erase meaning. It preserves it, lets it arrive in perfect detail across impossible distances. There is a silence, too, in the human experience of space. Astronauts describe it when they orbit Earth, looking down on clouds and seas, looking out at stars unblurred by air. They hear only their breath, their heart, the small clicks of machines. In that silence, they feel connected to everything, not apart from it. They feel small, but not lonely. They feel fragile, but also infinite. Silence shows them the truth, that life is rare and precious, that Earth is a small oasis of sound and color in a universe of quiet. To live in silence, even for a moment, is to feel the weight and wonder of existence. The silence of space is also mirrored in us. In the pauses between thoughts, in the stillness between breaths, in the calm at the center of our being, we find the same quiet that fills the cosmos. Just as galaxies spin silently, so do our lives unfold in rhythms we often overlook. We are part of this silence, not separate from it. To honor silence is to honor our connection to the universe. It is to remember that the stillness inside us and the stillness outside us are reflections of the same truth. So what happens when space becomes silent? It becomes whole. Silence is not a void to fear, but a balance to accept. It is the calm that allows light to shine, the stillness that allows stars to be seen, the patience that allows galaxies to drift and form. Silence is not the end of the story. It is part of the story, a chapter that gives meaning to the others. Without silence, there could be no music. Without stillness, no motion. Without night, no day. Silence gives shape to all things. Let us close then with the image of silence as a vast ocean. We float upon it, carried by currents of light and gravity, surrounded by depths we cannot fully measure. The waves are slow, the water endless, the air still, and yet we are alive within it. We shine for a moment, we listen for a moment, and we pass our voices into the quiet. The universe holds those voices gently, letting them drift until they fade, letting them become part of the silence once more. This is not loss, it is belonging. The silence is the great cradle, and in it everything rests at last. Time is not a steady river. It bends, it stretches, it slows. We feel it pass in the tourney. Ng of days, the beating of hearts, the aging of faces. But in the universe, time does not move the same everywhere. At the edge of black holes, it crawls. In the speed of light, it stops. The edge where time slows is not only a place in the cosmos, but also a lesson about the fabric of reality itself. To walk toward this edge in thought is to enter a world where clocks disagree, where moments stretch like taffy, and where the universe shows us that time is not a ruler but a dancer. Imagine standing near a black hole, not so close that you fall, but close enough to feel its grip. From where you stand, time feels normal. Your heart beats, your breath rises and falls, your watch ticks. But to someone watching from far away, you appear to slow. Your movements grow sluggish. Your watch ticks more gently. The closer you move to the black hole's edge, the slower you seem. At the very boundary, called the event horizon, you would appear to freeze in place. Light from you would stretch, redder and redder, until it faded into darkness. From your perspective, you might still fall through, but to others, you become a statue of light, trapped at the edge where time itself stalls. This slowing of time is not magic, it is gravity. According to Einstein's theory of general relativity, gravity is not a force pulling things down. It is the bending of space-time itself. Mass curves space and time flows differently in curved space. Near a heavy mass, time slows. The stronger the pull, the slower the flow. On Earth, the effect is tiny but real. Atomic clocks placed at the top of a tower tick slightly faster than clocks at the bottom. The difference is so small we do not feel it, but it is there. Satellites must correct for it, or their navigation would drift. What seems like a simple measure of seconds and minutes is in truth woven into the structure of the cosmos. Now imagine time near light. When you travel faster, closer to the speed of light, time slows for you compared to those who remain behind. This is called time dilation, and it means that journeys to the stars could bend the rhythm of aging. If you flew on a ship near the speed of light and returned, you would be younger than those who stayed on Earth. To you, the trip would feel normal. To them, many more years might have passed. Time stretches in different ways depending on the path you take. The universe allows many versions of now, each true in its own frame. The edge where time slows is not just near black holes. It is wherever speed and gravity bend the fabric beneath our feet. Think of time as a river flowing across a landscape. In open plains, it moves swiftly, evenly. But near mountains, it pools and swirls. Near deep valleys, it lingers. Black holes are like bottomless wells dug into the landscape. Time flows more slowly there, circling endlessly around the well's mouth. For those at a distance, it seems the flow has stopped. But for those within, the river still moves, carrying them deeper. The edge where time slows is the rim of that well, the horizon where outside and inside no longer agree. This is why black holes are mysterious, not only because they swallow matter, but because they bend time itself until it nearly breaks. The universe gives us glimpses of this slowing in ways both subtle and grand. Light escaping a massive star stretches into red as time slows near its surface. Pulsars, those spinning corpses of collapsed stars, beam with a rhythm that changes as they sit in heavy gravity. Even our GPS satellites circling Earth must account for both the speed of their orbit and the height of their path. If they ignored these differences in time, the system would wander miles off course every day. The edge where time slows is not far away. It is part of our daily lives, even if we do not feel it. Yet to imagine the ultimate edge, the one near black holes, is to imagine a place where physics itself seems to blur. Inside the horizon, time and space trade roles. Space becomes a path you cannot avoid, and time becomes a wall you cannot climb. To fall inside is not to move downward, but forward inevitably toward the singularity at the center, where density and curvature may reach infinity. What does time mean there? We do not fully know. Our equations whisper but do not sing. The edge where time slows is also the edge of knowledge, a reminder that the universe still keeps some secrets folded in its dark. But even without answers, we can feel the poetry of this truth. Time is not fixed. It is flexible, elastic, shaped by gravity and speed. This means that time is personal. Your seconds are not the same as mine. Your life runs at a rhythm unique to your path through the cosmos. We share the illusion of a common clock because the differences are small at human scales. But the deeper truth is wider, more mysterious. The edge where time slows is not only in black holes. It is in every clock, every heartbeat, every moment that flows differently across T. Universe. Imagine the future. The universe expands, galaxies drift apart, stars burn out. Time flows onward, but not evenly. In distant regions slowed by gravity, time may stretch differently than here. In the deep future, when the cosmos grows cold, time may feel like a long, slow breath stretched across eons. Perhaps in some corners, time will nearly stop, frozen at the edge of collapsing matter. These edges may dot the universe like silent pools in a vast river, each holding moments stretched almost to eternity. The cosmos is not one story told at one pace. It is a chorus, each voice singing in its own tempo. To stand at the edge where time slows is to realize that our idea of past, present, and future is small. What we call now is not universal. It is local, shaped by our motion, our gravity, our place in the web. Beyond Earth, other nows unfold. On distant planets, time passes at slightly different speeds. On stars circling close to black holes, seconds stretch longer. The universe does not share one clock, it holds many. The edge where time slows is a mirror showing us how deeply woven into space time really is. And in this realization there is beauty, for it means that existence is not rigid. It is flexible, alive, changing with the places we go and the paths we take. To know that time can bend is to know that the universe is more mysterious than our first glance suggests. It is to feel that we too are part of that mystery. Our lives are brief, our clocks small, but they are bound to the same fabric as the stars, the black holes, the galaxies. The edge where time slows is not only a distant horizon. It is a reminder, close and constant, that the universe is not static. It breathes, it bends, it waits patiently for us to listen. To move deeper into the thought of time slowing is to step into a realm where ordinary understanding grows soft. On Earth, time feels steady. The morning follows night, seasons arrive in their turn, and years pass in rhythm. But this rhythm is only local, shaped by Earth's gentle gravity and our own pace. Beyond our world, time bends differently, like wind blowing stronger in some valleys and softer in others. The edge where time slows is scattered across the universe, written wherever gravity grows heavy or speed climbs near light. To imagine it is to walk through a gallery of clocks, each one ticking at its own tempo, each one correct in its own frame. Picture a pair of twins. One stays on Earth, living in the comfort of steady days. The other boards a ship that sails near the speed of light. When the traveling twin returns, they are younger than the one who stayed. For the traveler, time has stretched, slowed, given them more years to hold. This is not a trick or an illusion. It is the way the universe works, a quiet bending of reality itself. This thought experiment, often called the twin paradox, is no paradox at all. It is a lesson. Time is not absolute. It is woven into the movement of space, and motion itself can stretch its threads. Now imagine placing a clock at the base of a mountain and another at the peak. The clock above, farther from Earth's pull, ticks slightly faster. The clock below, deeper in gravity's grip, ticks slower. The difference is small but real. We have measured it with atomic precision. This is gravitational time dilation, the way gravity bends not just space but time itself. If you lived forever at the bottom of a deep well, your time would always flow more slowly than someone at the surface. You would not notice, it would feel normal, but to others, you would be moving through life at a gentler pace. The edge where time slows is everywhere gravity pools. These truths are written most strongly near black holes. At their edge, called the event horizon, time nearly halts for distant observers. Light itself struggles to climb free, stretching longer and longer, redder and redder, until it fades into the dark. If you watched a friend approach the horizon, you would see them slow, freeze, and vanish. To them, though, time would still feel normal. They would cross the edge and fall inward, carried by time's river toward the singularity within. The strangeness here is not in what they feel, but in what we see. Reality is not a single shared frame. It is a tapestry where different threads are stretched differently, and yet all belong to the same whole. Scientists have used this knowledge to study the cosmos. Light from stars orbiting close to the black hole at the center of our galaxy has been measured to stretch just as Einstein predicted. Their time runs slower than ours, and their light carries the signature of that slowing. Each star is a clock, and the universe lets us read those clocks to confirm its laws. Even satellites orbiting Earth must adjust for both the speed of their travel and the height of their orbit. Without this, our maps and navigation would drift wildly. Time's flexibility is not only a distant curiosity, it is woven into the tools we use, the paths we walk, the daily lives we live. The edge where time slows also shapes the way we think about beginnings and endings. If time can stretch and slow, what does it mean for the universe as a whole? At the Big Bang, space and time themselves were born together, expanding from a hot, dense state into the wide silence we see today. As space expanded, time unfolded. But what if in certain regions, time slowed differently, giving rise to pockets of the universe where the story unfolded at another pace? This idea is more than speculation. It may explain why the cosmos looks so uniform in all directions, as if time itself had stretched evenly in its youth. Inflation, a rapid expansion in the earliest moments, may have carried time into forms we still do not fully understand. To think of time slowing is to think also of memory. Our lives are measured not in seconds, but in moments that feel long or short depending on where we stand. A joyful day seems to pass too quickly, while a painful hour stretches endlessly. Though our minds are not black holes, we too live with relative time. The physics of dilation echoes in our emotions. In this way, the cosmos and the human heart are alike. Both know that time is not fixed. Both know that perception bends with context. Both know that moments can last forever in memory, even if the clock insists they were short. The edge where time slows is also an edge of perspective. If you stand far from a black hole, you see time slowing for those near it. If you stand near, you feel no difference, but you see the universe outside racing forward. What is true depends on where you stand. Each viewpoint is correct within its frame. This is the essence of relativity. There is no single master clock. There are only local truths, stitched together into a fabric larger than any one observer. The universe allows many truths to coexist, just as it allows many paths for time to flow. This flexibility carries gentle lessons. It reminds us that absolutes are rare. What feels fixed may be more fluid than we think. Just as time bends near gravity, so too do our lives bend with the weight we carry. Some burdens slow us, stretch our days. Some joys lighten us, making hours seem like minutes. Time is both a physical and an emotional experience, and both are real. To know this is to accept that the edge where time slows is not only out there in space. It is also here, in the ways we live and remember. Looking farther into the future, we wonder how time will stretch as the universe expands. If dark energy continues to accelerate the cosmos, more and more galaxies will slip away, their light stretched beyond reach. From their point of view, time will continue, but to us they will vanish into silence. Our horizon will shrink. The sky of the far future will hold fewer stars, fewer galaxies, fewer stories to see. Time itself will feel different in such a universe, drawn out like a long, soft sigh. The edge where time slows may then be not only near black holes, but at the boundary of visibility itself, where expansion stretches light beyond all measure. And yet there is comfort here, for it means that time is not a cage. It is not fixed or unyielding. It is flexible, alive, shaped by mass and motion. This truth frees us. It tells us that our lives, though brief, are part of something fluid and vast. Our seconds may feel small, but they are bound to the same river that slows at black holes and stretches at the speed of light. To feel this is to belong. The edge where time slows is not a wall. It is a reminder that the cosmos is deeper than we first imagine, and that our place in it is richer than we can measure. So let us hold this image, time as a fabric, bending, stretching, slowing at its edges. We stand on this fabric, we breathe with it, we age with it. And beyond, in places we cannot yet reach, time drifts more slowly, like deep pools in a wide river. These pools do not divide us from the cosmos. They connect us to it, showing us that even the flow of moments is a shared story. To live is to move along that fabric, carrying with us the wonder that time itself can bend, and that at its edges, the universe whispers its most profound secrets. At the quiet edge where time slows, the universe reveals not only its strangeness but also its grace. Time, which we often treat as a straight line, becomes a soft fabric, stretched and folded by the weight of stars and the motion of light. To imagine standing on this edge is to imagine feeling the fabric itself beneath your feet, moving with you, slowing your steps as if the air had grown thick. You walk, but the world outside sees you pause. You breathe, but your breath becomes a long sigh across the eyes of distant watchers. The edge where time slows is not only a boundary in space. It is a lesson about perspective, about how truth can look different depending on where you stand. Think again of black holes, the clear. Est mirrors of this truth. From far away, the fall into a black hole looks eternal. A traveler hovers forever at the horizon, their light stretched thin until it fades. Yet for the traveler themselves, time continues, carrying them inward without pause. The outside sees one story, the inside another. Both are true, both are part of the same fabric, stitched together in ways our minds struggle to hold. The horizon is not only a place where light is trapped. It is a place where time itself fractures into perspectives, each valid, each incomplete alone. This edge teaches us humility. Our sense of now is not universal. It is ours, local and fragile. To imagine other nows unfolding differently in distant places is to feel how small our slice of reality is. On Earth, clocks mostly agree, but across the galaxy, time stretches and bends. A star orbiting close to the central black hole feels each second longer than we do. A particle racing near the speed of light feels centuries pass in a blink. The cosmos does not hold one rhythm but many. To live in it is to accept that truth has many tempos, and that our human pace is only one song in a larger symphony. As the universe expands, the fabric of time stretches too. Galaxies drift apart and their light grows older on its journey to us. The farther we look, the younger the universe appears, not because of illusion, but because light has taken so long to arrive. In this way, distance is also time. The edge of the observable universe is an edge of history, a horizon not only of space but of age. To peer outward is to peer backward. To wonder what lies beyond is to wonder not just about where we cannot see, but when, perhaps beyond our reach, time unfolds differently, written in scripts we will never read. Perhaps there are places where moments stretch so slowly that an entire galaxy's life is only a breath. And what of the future? As dark energy drives the cosmos apart, more galaxies will slip beyond our horizon. To us, they will vanish into silence, their clocks forever out of sync with ours. Time itself will feel thinner, stretched by expansion into longer and longer intervals. In that future, the universe will grow quieter, lonelier, slower. Stars will die, black holes will fade, and the great song will soften into silence. But even then, time will not end. It will flow gently, endlessly, even if nothing remains to count its steps. Time, slowed to the quietest whisper, will still be there, like the faint glow of embers long after the fire has gone out. The edge where time slows is also inside us. We feel it when we are in love and hours vanish as if stolen. We feel it when we suffer and minutes drag like stones. Our minds bend time as surely as gravity bends it in space. The physics of dilation and the psychology of perception are not the same, but both remind us that time is not rigid. It is elastic, pliable, shaped by context and weight. To sit in silence and feel a moment expand is to touch the same truth as the twin traveling near light or the star orbiting a black hole. Time is not fixed, it is lived. Science reaches into these mysteries with equations, with telescopes, with experiments precise enough to measure the tick of atoms. Yet even with all this, there remains wonder. We do not yet know what lies at the singularity where time may end or transform. We do not yet know if time itself had a beginning before the Big Bang, or if it loops endlessly in cycles. The edge where time slows is also the edge of knowledge, where science becomes poetry and questions become as valuable as answers. To admit we do not know is not weakness, it is honesty and it is awe. Let us hold an image in closing. Imagine a vast river flowing across the cosmos. In some places it rushes swiftly, in others it pools and slows. At certain edges it nearly stops, lingering in stillness so deep it feels eternal. We float on this river, carried by its currents, living our brief part of its endless flow. The edge where time slows is not a wall to fear. It is a reminder that the river is wide, that its currents are many, and that our journey is part of something larger than we can see. So we end with this thought: time is not a single path. It is a fabric woven with bends and folds, stretches and slows. The edge where time slows is a gift, showing us that reality is richer than a straight line, deeper than a ticking clock. It tells us that the universe is patient, that it holds more than one rhythm, that it invites us to listen with humility. And as we listen, we find peace. For in the slowing of time, in the bending of moments, we see not the end of truth, but the widening of it. The cosmos sings in many tempos, and we are fortunate to hear even one. Between the bright swirls of galaxies lies a darkness so vast it feels like an ocean without shore. These stretches are not empty in truth, though they appear empty to our eyes. They are the wide gulfs of intergalactic space where scent. Ours are rare and silence is deep. To drift into these regions is to drift into the dark oceans between galaxies, places where light itself takes ages to cross, and where the very idea of distance begins to lose meaning. The universe is not only the islands of light we see, it is also the sea of dark that surrounds them. Imagine standing on a shore at night, looking out across water that holds no moon and no reflection. The surface looks endless, and in its stillness your breath slows. Intergalactic space is like that, a sea without horizon stretching between the glowing archipelagos of galaxies. From within a galaxy, the night sky seems full, bright with stars. but step far enough away into the deep ocean and the stars grow faint. The nearest galaxy may be millions of light years away, its light a fragile thread stretched across time. In this darkness, solitude feels complete, and yet it is not nothingness. Even the dark oceans are alive with secrets. What fills this space is not the kind of matter we know in daily life. Atoms are rare here. A cubic meter of intergalactic space may hold only a few lonely particles, an atom here, a photon there, drifting without anchor. This thinness is hard to imagine, for our world is thick with air, water, and stone. But in these oceans, matter is stretched so thin that silence reigns. Still, the few particles that remain form part of a larger story. They carry heat, faint and ancient, left over from the Big Bang. They carry motion, whispers of the galaxies they once belonged to. They are the foam on the surface of a dark sea. Dark matter, unseen but heavy, also moves here. It does not shine or scatter light, but its presence bends gravity, shaping the web of the cosmos. Galaxies are islands because dark matter's hidden hand gathers them, pulling them into clusters along invisible filaments. Between these filaments lie the oceans, wide voids where little forms. These voids are vast, some hundreds of millions of light years across, larger than imagination can hold. They are not empty. They are seas of unseen particles, stretching in stillness, waiting for us to learn their shape. The darkness between galaxies is not absence. It is the quiet body of the universe itself. To imagine sailing these oceans is to imagine traveling for eons without finding shore. A ship moving near the speed of light would cross such a void only after millions of years. The silence would be profound, the stars scattered like dust at the far edges of sight. Yet even here, light still moves. Photons cross the void, carrying news from galaxies, carrying the afterglow of the early universe, carrying the faint whispers of collisions and births that happened long ago. The oceans are dark, but they are filled with messengers. If you could listen with the right ears, you would hear a steady murmur, like waves too slow for human time. Scientists map these voids by watching how galaxies cluster around them. Like buoys on the edges of an unseen bay, galaxies mark where matter gathers and where it does not. In the empty spaces, expansion moves freely, pulling the fabric wider. In the crowded filaments, gravity slows the spread, shaping knots of stars and planets. The oceans and the islands work together, forming a balance of light and dark, matter and absence. Without the voids, galaxies would not have edges. Without the edges, galaxies would not shine against the deep. Emptiness and fullness are partners, weaving the structure of the cosmos. There is a gentleness to these oceans. They do not roar or surge like earthly seas. They drift, they expand. They are carried by the quiet push of dark energy, which drives the universe to grow larger with every heartbeat of time. The voids are places where this expansion is clearest, where space stretches without resistance. To float there is to feel the breath of the universe itself, slow and endless, carrying you farther and farther without any effort of your own. The dark oceans are not hostile. They are calm, vast, and patient. And yet within them, rare wonders appear. Lone stars, called intergalactic stars, drift in the voids, flung out of their galaxies by collisions or tidal forces. These stars are like solitary lanterns on an endless sea, glowing without company. Some may carry planets, small worlds circling in total isolation, with no nearby galaxy to share the sky. Life on such a world, if it could exist, would look upward and see almost nothing. Its heavens would be nearly black, with only the faintest glow from distant galaxies. To live there would be to live in silence deeper than any we know. The dark oceans remind us that not all shores are crowded. Some exist in solitude, quiet and alone. Beyond the particles and the stars, radiation also crosses the oceans. Cosmic rays, high-energy fragments of atoms, streak silently across the void, carrying the memory of violent events, supernovae, quasars, collisions of massive bodies, neutrinos ghostly. Particles slip through unhindered, whispering of processes deep inside stars. Gravitational waves, ripples in spacetime, pass without disturbance, carrying news of black holes merging. These messengers move easily through the emptiness. The dark oceans may seem still, but they are filled with currents invisible to eyes, silent but steady, crossing the distances without end. As we study the dark oceans, we also study ourselves. The spaces between galaxies are not places we can reach, not with current ships or future dreams. They are too wide, too slow, too silent, and yet they shape our lives. The way galaxies form, the way stars cluster, the way the universe expands, all of it is written in the balance between light and dark, island and ocean. To understand the dark oceans is to understand why we exist at all, why matter gathered here into a star, into a planet, into beings who can ask these questions. Emptiness itself is part of the answer. So let us not see these voids as nothing. Let us see them as space for wonder. The oceans between galaxies are like the pauses between notes in a song. Without them, the music would be noise. With them, the melody becomes clear. The silence of the void makes the brightness of galaxies shine brighter, makes the structure of the universe more graceful, makes our small moment of life more precious. To look into the dark is to see the canvas on which all stars are painted, the deep waters in which all light swims. The oceans may be dark, but they are not lifeless. They are the wide breadth of the cosmos, holding everything in balance. To wander deeper into the thought of the dark oceans between galaxies is to step into a stillness almost beyond imagination. These oceans are not waves of water, but waves of space itself, stretching across distances so wide that light needs millions of years to drift from one shore to the next. To us, they appear as blackness, a velvet stage where galaxies shimmer like distant lanterns. Yet beneath that blackness is texture, a quiet architecture of matter, radiation, and unseen forces. The oceans are not empty. They are simply too wide and too quiet for ordinary eyes. When astronomers map the large-scale structure of the universe, they see that galaxies do not scatter randomly. Instead, they form a vast web. Filaments of galaxies stretch like threads, knots where they meet glow as clusters, and between them lie the great voids. These voids are the dark ocean. They make up most of the volume of the universe. Their presence gives shape to the web, just as silence gives shape to music. Without the oceans, the filaments would have no boundaries, no contrast, no form. It is the emptiness itself that outlines the beauty. In these vast voids, particles float like grains of dust in a cathedral. A few hydrogen atoms drift for every cubic meter, spread thin by the expansion of space. Occasionally, a lone star wanders here, flung from its galaxy by gravity's tug-of-war. These stars, called intergalactic stars, shine quietly, their light crossing the void alone. Some may hold planets, solitary worlds orbiting in darkness, warmed only by their star. Imagine standing on such a world. The sky would be nearly black. No bright band of Milky Way would arc above you. Only a few faint galaxies would glimmer, so dim you might mistake them for imagination. To live, there would be to live in solitude deeper than any we know. Yet even here, invisible presences remain. Dark matter flows through these oceans, unseen but heavy, shaping the fabric of gravity. Its presence is not obvious, but we know it is there from the way galaxies cluster and the way light bends. These voids are not truly empty, but filled with the quiet weight of matter we cannot touch. And then there is dark energy, softer still, pushing space to expand faster, stretching the oceans wider with each passing moment. These hidden forces turn the oceans into living things, moving and shifting in silence. The voids are not frozen. They are breathing with the universe. Light itself tells us about these oceans. When photons cross such distances, they stretch. Their wavelengths grow longer, redder, thinner, worn down by the expansion of space. Distant galaxies look red not because they are tired, but because the universe has grown larger while their light was in flight. This stretching, called redshift, is a record of the oceans themselves. Each photon carries the memory of how much space has expanded while it traveled. In this way, the dark oceans are written into every ray of light we see. We also hear the faint whispers of radiation in these spaces. The cosmic microwave background, the leftover glow from the early universe, fills every corner, including the voids. It is faint, but it is everywhere, like the softest hum in a vast hall. This glow tells us that even the emptiest places are connected to the same beginning. No void is truly separate. All are part of the same story, written in light that has cooled and stretched for billions of years. In this way, the dark oceans are not only places of emptiness, they are places of memory, holding the echoes of the universe's first moments. Sometimes galaxies drift into these oceans, leaving their clusters behind. In their isolation, they burn alone slowly. Without neighbors to pull on them or collide with them, they age quietly, evolving without drama. These lonely galaxies are rare, but they remind us that the oceans are not sterile. They are places of calm, where galaxies can live out their lives in solitude. In the stillness, their light becomes even more precious, a candle in an endless night. Scientists study the oceans not only to understand emptiness, but also to understand fullness. The voids tell us about the nature of dark energy, because expansion moves more freely there. They tell us about the growth of structure, because their edges mark where matter has gathered. By mapping them, we learn how the universe evolved, how galaxies formed, how the balance of gravity and expansion has shifted over time. The oceans are not gaps in knowledge. They are chapters in the story, written in silence but waiting to be read. To think of these oceans is also to think of scale. On Earth, oceans span thousands of kilometers, a size we can barely cross in ships. Between galaxies, the oceans span hundreds of millions of light years, distances that defy all sense. If you set sail at the speed of light, you would not reach the far shore in a human lifetime, or even in the life of civilizations. These scales are so large that they can only be held as poetry, not as travel. The oceans are beyond us, but they remind us of the immensity we inhabit. They teach us humility, showing us how small our place is in the grand sea. And yet there is comfort in this vastness, for it means that the universe is not crowded. There is space to breathe, space to stretch, space for galaxies to drift without colliding too often. The oceans allow islands of light to exist without crushing each other. They are the calm waters between storms, the still air between gusts. Without them, the universe would be chaos. With them, it is ordered, balanced, harmonious. The darkness is not an absence of care. It is the structure that allows beauty to shine. Picture again the night sky, this time with new eyes. Every star you see is part of the Milky Way, our local island of light. Beyond them, the faint smudge of Andromeda marks another island. Beyond that, countless others scatter across the dark. Between each is ocean. You cannot see it, but it is there, wide and deep, holding the stars apart. When you look at the night sky, you are not only seeing light, you are also seeing the darkness that gives it space. The stars are the notes, the voids the rests, and together they make the music of the cosmos. In this way, the dark oceans are not frightening, they are soothing. They are the pauses that let the song breathe, the silences that give meaning to sound. To know they exist is to know that the universe values balance. It does not only create light, it also creates room for light to be seen. The oceans between galaxies are not waste, they are wonder. They are the wide spaces that remind us that existence is larger than our measures, and that in the dark there is peace. The dark oceans between galaxies invite us to pause, to breathe, to imagine what it means to live in a universe so wide that most of it is empty space. These oceans are not mistakes or gaps. They are part of the design, the quiet balance between light and dark, fullness and stillness. To drift into them in thought is to feel the gentle weight of nothingness, not as a burden but as a comfort. The silence of these voids is the silence that makes the stars visible. Without it, the cosmos would be a blur of light without form. The oceans are the contrast that makes beauty possible. Imagine again standing on a lonely planet far from any galaxy. The night sky would be darker than any sky we have ever known. A few faint smudges of light might cross it, distant galaxies glowing like breath on glass. The silence would feel complete. And yet even there you would still be part of the story. The atoms in your body would have been forged in stars long ago, stars that once burned in galaxies now distant across the oceans. You would be alone but not separate. The voids connect as much as they divide, for they are part of the same fabric that holds galaxies, stars, and life together. The oceans teach us that emptiness is not an absence but a presence of its own. Radiation passes through them. Cosmic rays streak silently, carrying the memory of explosions. Neutrinos slip without pause, whispering of nuclear fires in stars. Gravitational waves ripple quietly, carrying the record of black holes merging. These oceans are highways for messengers, corridors where nothing blocks their travel. They may look still, but they are alive with unseen. In currents, the silence is not dead, it is listening. As time moves on, the oceans will grow. The expansion of the universe stretches them wider every moment. Galaxies drift farther apart, and the voids swell like lungs filling with breath. In the far future, most galaxies will vanish beyond our horizon, their light stretched too thin to reach us. The oceans will look darker, deeper, emptier. To beings alive then, the universe may seem smaller with fewer islands of light. But the truth will remain. The oceans are vast, and they hold the memory of all that came before. Their silence will not erase the past. It will carry it gently into eternity. And yet within the oceans, creation may still bloom. Rare collisions can fling matter into the voids where it gathers in delicate threads. Even in the widest dark, galaxies may form slowly, quietly, nurtured by gravity's patience. The cosmos does not waste space. Every region has its story, even if that story is silent, stretching across billions of years. To think of this is to feel awe not only for what we see, but for what we cannot. The unseen is as important as the seen. The quiet is as vital as the song. The dark oceans also mirror our own lives. We fill our days with sound and motion, but between them lie pauses, moments of stillness. These pauses are not wasted. They are what let the music of living breathe. Without them, life would be noise. With them, it becomes rhythm. The cosmos reminds us of this balance. The galaxies are our moments of brightness. The voids are moments of quiet. Together, they make the full shape of existence. To live well is to honor both, the shining and the stillness, the song and the silence. Science reaches into these oceans with care. Telescopes trace their outlines by watching where galaxies end and emptiness begins. Surveys map the cosmic web, showing voids as wide, dark spaces between glowing threads. Simulations on supercomputers recreate their birth and growth, showing how gravity and expansion weave them together. And in these studies, we find that the voids are not meaningless gaps. They are essential. They are part of the balance that allows the universe to be what it is. Without them, the cosmos would collapse under its own weight. With them, it breathes and expands. To reflect on these oceans is also to reflect on humility. We live in one galaxy, on one planet, in one small corner. Around us are distances so wide that we cannot cross them. Most of the universe is not stars but space, not galaxies but voids. And yet in that immensity we are here, able to ask, to wonder, to listen. Our existence is as delicate as a ripple in an ocean, but it is real. The dark oceans remind us that we are small, but they also remind us that smallness does not mean insignificance. We are part of the fabric, as much as the voids and the galaxies themselves. Let us close with an image. Picture the universe as a great sea at night. Islands of light rise as galaxies scattered across the water. Between them lies the dark, wide and deep. You float there looking out. The silence is vast, but it is not empty. It holds the weight of memory, the hum of ancient light, the whisper of unseen forces. It holds the space that allows the islands to shine. And in that balance, in that harmony of light and dark, the universe finds its beauty. The oceans between galaxies are not nothing. They are everything in between, the gentle breath of the cosmos, the silence that makes the song whole.